at it again, and we have one with the great Larry Elder. You know, whenever we check out Larry Elder, it's going to be a smackdown. All right? So get your popcorn ready. Let's dive in.
You say racism is not alive today, but
I didn't say that. You said that.
Okay, what did you say?
Racism is no longer a major problem in America.
Well, let me just ask the crowd, how many in the crowd would say that there's something from their childhood that's still affecting them today in terms of how you behave from your childhood? Anything?
I would say
let's be honest, right?
Something from my childhood that has affected me so much that it still affects me today. I don't know if I could think of like a specific thing that affects me personally. That's a valid question, I think. But for me, I honestly couldn't tell you anything.
100%.
100%
Yeah.
correct, right?
I would say
Let's be honest, right?
It's a valid question.
100% correct, right?
It's a valid question.
Okay, so in the case of Black people, if you look at 400 years of abuse,
You're not 400 years old, sir.
No. I said,
Oh, thank you. See, this is why I rock with Larry Elder. Yeah, golly, he went there with it. He went there. He tried it. I was wondering where he was going when he was mentioning the past. You know, is there something in, you know, when you were younger that, you know, affects you today? He went there. 400 years. You're not 400 years old. You're not. You didn't experience what some of our ancestors experienced. You didn't. Stop acting like it. Suit up and lace your boots up and get to work. Nobody's coming to hand you something. See, that's what I think a lot of people want too, though. They want handouts. So it's easy to be a victim and cry and complain that, you know, the world is against you and you haven't had a fair shake, when in reality, you just didn't suit up and lace your boots up. You just didn't go put in the work. So you cry and complain so that you're given a handout. That's the way that I see it. But y'all let me know how you feel in the comment section if you feel that's accurate or not.
of abuse.
You're not 400 years old, sir.
No. I said Black people.
You're not 400 years old. Black people.
I'm not saying me. I'm saying Black people.
Nobody Black is 400 years old.
Okay, well, the history of slavery, 400 years old, that's just a piece of it. Had to endure the trauma, and now we're still here today. My point is that you say racism is not alive today, but
I didn't say that. You said that.
Okay, what did you say?
Racism is no longer a major problem in America.
Correct.
It's no longer powerful enough to hold anybody.
Oh man, hey yo, Larry, hold on, I got to show y'all this. See, y'all can't see it because my thing is in the way. Come on, Larry. What you doing at this campus, Larry? What you doing? Come on, this Buckeye Nation, baby. The M? Oh, man. See, how I might have to stop checking out Larry Elder. He's gotten out of hand. No, I'm joking. Of course, I'm joking. I just had to, you know, talk a little bit of crap. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
What did you say?
Racism is no longer a major problem in America.
Correct.
It's no longer powerful enough to hold anybody back that's willing to work hard and follow the 4 or 5 things I just now mentioned. I never said racism is gone.
I agree with that, but the effects of racism are still very much alive. The effects, and effects will last.
What effects?
Generations upon generations.
That's nonsense. 1940, before the Civil Rights Act was passed, before the Voting Rights Act was passed, open housing was passed, 87% of Blacks lived below the federally defined level of poverty. 1960, 20 years later, that number had declined to 47%, a 40-point drop.
What percent?
87% of Blacks lived below the federally defined level of poverty.
87.
1960, 20 years later, that number had declined to 47%, a 40-point drop from 1940 to 1960, the greatest 20-year period of economic expansion for Blacks in American history, before any of the civil rights stuff had happened. The big problem, sir, is a breakdown of the Black family. Look at a graph on how much time a Black student spends studying every night versus a Hispanic student versus a white student versus an Asian American student. It's night and day. You don't work hard, you don't embrace education, you're going to have a bad output. The question is, why are we having a bad output? And the answer is, unless there's somebody in the home to make sure you have done your homework and you've gone to bed on time and you've been housed and clothed and fed properly, unless you have at least somebody like that in the house.
That guidance. And I'm going to let Larry Elder finish that. But, you know, I touched on this on Twitter. If you're not following me, the link is in the description. I said, in my opinion, being a good parent is not simply supporting whatever your child wants to do. Being a good parent is guidance, discipline, and correction when they are led astray. See, a lot of people in today's society just want kids to just be able to do whatever it is that they want to do. And I think that's a problem. Because, like, you know, Larry Elder was just touching on, for one, kids aren't going to do their homework. They aren't going to go to bed on time. They're going to stay up as long as possible until they finally pass out. They're going to stay up playing video games and hanging out with their friends. Forget the homework. They need guidance. You can't let kids just do whatever. Otherwise, things will go haywire. Kids will be doing all types of wild and crazy stuff. That's just obvious. And like he said, the problem is parents. More so, dad's not being in the home. The dad is that guidance in a lot of cases, in most cases. Nothing against mothers. You know, mothers serve their very important role as well. But we've seen the evidence of it. It's a major key. Major key.
Home to make sure you have done your homework and you've gone to bed on time.
Yep.
And you've been housed and clothed and fed properly. Unless you have at least somebody like that in the house, you're toast. And unfortunately, so many Black people do not have that. And we ought to be talking about why.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
God bless.
Wow. So, yeah, I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked. You know, obviously we've seen quite a few, we've seen a few more situations similar to that more recently, but still for the most part, in the totality of things, you don't get conversations like this where it's just cordial. And the guy agreed at the end. I mean, granted, what he said in the beginning was quite ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Blaming something that happened long ago for things that are happening today. That's totally bogus. We all know that. But at the end, where he said, I totally agree. Were y'all shocked? I was shocked. I was ready for an argument. I was like, okay, all right, well, let's see what other BS you got to say now. But no. So kudos to that guy for realizing his own ignorance, because that is rare in today's world, right? Where you have individuals who, I don't want to say man enough, but are humble enough to admit when they're wrong. I think that is lacking in today's society. Everybody has to be right. And I've touched on this before. Everybody has to be right at every single turn. There's no possible way they can be wrong. And I'm like, yes, there is. And it's important to admit that. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're all wrong from time to time. That's life. Nothing wrong with that. But people see being wrong as like the end of the world. There's no possible way I can ever be wrong. No, I'm right. I don't know. So I was expecting him to come back with some BS. But kudos to that gentleman for just, hey, admitting, yep, I'm wrong. I totally agree with what you said. Absolutely. You know what? You are 100% right. He didn't say all of that, but basically he did. He did. And of course, Larry Elder was spot on. Spot on. As always, of course. You know, we've checked out Larry Elder plenty of times now. So when he speaks, when Larry Elder speaks, I listen. For sure. Without a doubt. And I think everyone should. Because you know it's coming from a genuine place. But not only that, he always comes with some type of statistics to back up whatever it is that he's saying. So you know it's just not coming from him. He has the statistics and the numbers to back it up every single time. Every single time. And like I've stated before, that is one of the biggest things that I respect about Larry Elder. You know, he always comes with it. That was incredible. But we do have to stop doing what he tried, the gentleman there tried to do at the beginning, and using excuses for, you know, where people are in life because of what happened long ago to some other people that they never even met. That's another thing too. We've never even met some of our ancestors that had to go through that stuff. and yet some black people claim to be traumatized from it. I'm like, what? Traumatized from what? Somebody saying some bad things to you on Twitter? Is that what you're traumatized from? Because it ain't what happened to some of our ancestors. It can't be that. I'm just saying. But as always, y'all let me know what you thought about all of this in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. And if you want to support the channel, my PayPal link is in the description box below. Peace and love.